Hi again, welcome back to Stephen Conway painting with Stephen, that's what you could call it, oil painting. In these tutorials I'm going to be teaching you the basic of oil painting, the basic techniques that you're going to need, the equipment that you might use, and it's just kind of to give you a heads up, just to get you started, and you can always develop your own skills as you're going along. This week we're going to be painting Fastnet Lighthouse. And this is a painting I've wanted to paint for a long time. So I'm glad I finally got the chance to show you. It's just going to be a quick tutorial on painting a lighthouse. There's going to be some nice rich colours in the sky in this, and there's going to be some nice warm sunsetty colours going through the sky. So I hope you like it, and if you have any suggestions or any requests even, just leave a comment, and I'd love to paint something that you want to paint as well. You know, be it a snow scene or any particular landmark even, you know what I mean? So don't be afraid to leave a comment. Now, I had a comment last week just to show you some paintings that were already finished. So I'm just going to show you some of those that I have hanging up on the wall. Now, this one is Blarney Castle. And I said I'd try to do it in a snow scene, and I think it worked quite well. Some lovely pinks and purples in there, and it's just another nice kind of a scene. I love painting snow. I love painting warm colours especially, and I'll show you another one. This is a nice little seascape, Ballycotton Lighthouse. That's one that I just finished a tutorial on. That's quite nice. And we have... Now this is another one, a Fastnet Lighthouse. This is the lighthouse I'm going to be painting today, but a smaller version. And I'm not going to be painting a sunset. It's going to be just a nice bright sky. And I'm going to be painting this for you today. So you'll see how that's painted. And some nice water going up on the rocks there as well. And that's quite nice. Now we have another little cottage from Kerry. That's nice as well. I like these long landscape frames. They really kind of draw your eye in, don't they? And this one is the waterfall, which I finished recently. That's for my brother. I hope he's going to be happy with that. It's almost completely dry. So let me zoom in on it for you. That's quite nice. So you can see the leaves and everything else. A little bit of mist going on up there. It's quite nice. And then down here, this is the North Cathedral, or the North Chapel, as it's more commonly known in Cork. And that's a nice little dark sky. It's very sort of dark scene with a splash of red in the middle. It's quite similar to a Shandon Bell's painting, which I did as well quite a while back. And it's just to show you, like, a splash of red really brings it to life. You see? And it's quite a wet day, so you're going to get these kind of reflections down on the floor from the water on the floor. The rain on the floor, sorry, should I say. And that's quite nice. These frames really set them off. And these are just frames that I make myself in the shed. I take my time with them. You know, there's a bit of work in them, but I don't mind. This is another one of Spain, placed in Spain. And you can see the nice knife work there off in the distance used to create the kind of mountainscape back there with the little hotels and all that type of stuff, and of course the boats. And that's quite a nice scene as well. So nice warm colours, kind of an evening time. You can see the guy on his moped flying along. Quite funny, I think. So that's another nice one. And so that's it. Let's turn to our canvas. Now, this is our canvas. And that's Fastnet Lighthouse. I'm going to be painting that today. It's 16 by 10, so it's a nice small size. And let's see now. I'm going to show you my palette, what we're going to be using today. Just a few colours, and I use most of these colours now in every painting, okay? We have phaylo blue, nice dark blue, cobalt blue, lamp black. There is an ivory black as well, but they're both the same. If you have Payne's grey, you can use that as well. I just find the lamp black is just much stronger dark colour. I prefer to mix a little black with some white to make a Payne's grey. You can get some lovely greys with that. Also, burnt sienna I have a little bit of cadmium red, I have some burnt umber, some cadmium yellow pale, I have Naples yellow and white. I must put more white on my palette now actually. And that's it. A little bit of turpentine with some linseed and a mixture of brushes, lots of different brushes. Okay, you can see there's not many bristle there, but most of them are synthetics. And they give some lovely fine detail. And that's it. Now, I'm going to hook this up on the clamp up here and I'm going to zoom in on this camera, or on this canvas, sorry. And we'll get going with this. And this is going to be a bit of fun now, this one. So I really want you to enjoy it. Okay, I think that will just about do. Let me just sort out this wire now that's sticking up in the air here. And I hope you're following me along now with these tutorials every week. And as I said, don't be afraid to leave some comments, because I love reading the comments. Whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter, just leave a comment. Even if you like it, just say great job. More of that, please. And I'll continue on and give you more of the same. Alright? So, don't be shy. Now, let's see, if just after stabling a little bit. Yeah, it's not too bad. This camera kind of zooms in and out itself there sometimes and it goes off focus slightly. So I hope it doesn't once I'm painting. I hope it stays fairly sharp and I hope you can see me properly at home. No. Right, I think we crack on. We're going to start with the sky, and I'm going to start with a kind of a pale, very, very pale blue. And we're going to put some nice pinky purpley clouds sort of skipping into the sky here. It's going to be, I suppose you could call it evening time. It's when the sun is going down and there's little bits of pink hitting off of the clouds just here and there. Well, that's what I'm going to try and achieve anyway. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and let's hope it works out. As you know, yourself, with every painting you do, you can't really judge how it's going to look when it's finished. You just sort of hope as you go along that it's going to turn out okay, and we'll see. Alright? We shall hope. So, I'm going to go with some Naples Yellow, some white to start me off. And let's just put in that down the end down here. I want to keep this nice and pale down the bottom here. So, let's just stick that in real quick. And I only have a rough outline of Fastness Lighthouse here now, just with pencil. You don't need to go to too much extreme detail on this with the pencil. It's just a rough sketch. That's all we're looking for. Very, very rough. Now, some cobalt blue and some white. There we go. And I've mixed this now just on the same part of my palette where I just mixed the Naples Yellow and white. And that adds a touch of sort of an ocean type of a blue into that sky colour. So it's not really a rich blue sky colour, it's sort of a bluey greenish sky colour. And I want to make this really pale towards the end, so my dark clouds will really show out properly on the sky then when I'm finished. And this is only going to be kind of a relatively quick tutorial. I'm not going to go to too much trouble with this painting. It's just sort of a quick tutorial. Let's just call it a quick tutorial on a lighthouse. Now, I've mixed a little red into this as well, just so it doesn't turn green when it goes down into this yellow, as I've said in the past. Add a touch of red if you don't want it to go green. Just a touch, only a touch. You see? And it all blends lovely together then. Now I'm going to put a little bit more blue in. More blue just for here. And this canvas just primed quickly with 2 coats of primer. Sanded between coats. very, very roughly sanded, or very quickly sanded, should I say. That was all. It's fine for this job. Now, so you can see we have a very, very pale sky. And I might even just make it slightly darker just at the top. Just along the top now, okay? Just a little bit richer. And of course that will give us our depth that we need for this painting. And I do apologize if I'm painting quickly. I just want to get this done just as a quick tutorial, just to show you about painting the lighthouses. I really want to get onto the lighthouse because we really will have a lot of fun with this. Now, that is not too bad. That's okay so far. Let's now take a slightly smaller brush. Now, let me think, what kind of a brush will I use for this? I suppose we'll just use one of these flat. Little flat synthetic. Whatever you have will do fine. But I'm just using this because I want a nice sharp edge on some of these clouds towards the bottom of the sky. Now, first, I'm looking at a photograph here now, okay? I'm going to pick it up there now and show you. And I'm using it as a reference just to use the sky out of this photograph. And it's very, very nice. And I don't know if you can see that there. But there's some nice deep purplish clouds with some bright pink catching the tops of the clouds, just along here and there. And that's just a general, it's just an impression of what I want. So I'm just going to use that as a reference. It's always handy to have something that you can use as a reference, because it's pretty difficult to paint something just out of your head. You know, you need to have something to go off. So I would always say to you, have something in front of you. It doesn't have to be the exact painting that you're doing, but you can use the sky from it, or you can use the mountain colour from it, or whatever. It's just nice to have something. No, that's not too bad. We'll go with that. That's not too bad. So just here and there now, I'm just going to bring some clouds sort of flicking down, and they're coming down this way at an angle. They're going to go off into the distance, alright? A couple there. Now don't worry about these being so sharp, I'm going to blend these in a minute. And we have a nice big sort of a cloud coming around here. And of course I'm just going to make it up as I go along myself as well. I'm not copying this photograph now exactly. Now can you see here I just gave it a little wiggle, just like that. And that really helps push it off into the distance. So it gives you the impression that the clouds are going way, way off. And then it comes up like this, and it sort of skips around, just like that. You see? See already now how much perspective there is in this, just by me doing that little brush stroke just there. And it comes over, and I'm going to add a bit more red into it as I'm coming over this way. It gets slightly more red as it goes across, because of the sun hitting them, okay? No, that's a nice rich colour there now, isn't it? And these, of course, are going to be blended into that blue in the background, a lot of these. So don't worry about me just being very rough with this. In fact, sometimes, when you do it very quickly and rough like this, they can actually turn out quite gorgeous. So you don't have to be very slow and methodical doing the clouds one by one. You can just dive right in and attack the canvas. And sometimes that's a nice way to paint as well, just by attacking the canvas and really going for it. Have an argument with the canvas, as they say. Have an argument with it and get very cross with it. If there's something on your mind, use that. Alright? And really tear into this. Now I'm going to go down here at a slight angle with this. There we are. I want everything to go off, meeting the horizon over here. There we go, and that's it. Let's put in some cobalt blue just up here. I want these to be slightly blue and cool. Just sort of flicking around up there. They're kind of just hanging out by themselves. Chilling out. And let's keep going with it. Now let's get a little darker. Let's use more phaylo blue and some of that red. And more phaylo blue in this now than there is red. It's a nice, really dark, rich bluey. That's it. That's what I'm looking for. And just go across. We'll bring it across here like this. That's it. And another touch of red. And let's just sharpen the edge of that there slightly. And then come almost horizontal now with this. In fact, they're pretty much horizontal really. Pretty much horizontal with these couple of clouds just along the bottom here. And I'm going to go into a touch of red with a touch of white, just for some off in the distance. There we go. And I'm just dragging the brush now across the dry canvas here. I'm using the grain of the canvas here to drag the paint off. That's it. Come across here. There we go. How's that looking? Yeah, it's looking a bit rough, I know, but we'll soon sort this out now with our blender brush. Our new blender brush, our very, very expensive blender brush. And wait till you see this, lads. Wait till you see the blender brush I have here. It's the most expensive brush I've ever purchased. Now, so I'm going to make that slightly more roundy there. And let's take our very expensive blender brush, and I can't wait to show you this now. Look at that. What do you think of that for a blender brush, huh? Makeup gallery. How much you say? €1.50. €1.50 for this. Isn't that amazing? And this will last through till about, I'd say, might get about 20 or 30 paintings out of this before the hair literally starts falling out. And then just go and buy a new one. You see? Isn't that amazing? I couldn't wait to show you. €1.50. That has to be the bargain of the century anyway. Now let's just blend some of this in. And the blue underneath has started to dry already. It's kind of soaked into the canvas slightly. So this has been a little difficult now for me to blend. But that's alright. Just lean well down on your blender brush. Let's blend all this together. There we are. And after this now we're going to go in with some nice pinky highlights for these clouds. Because there's some nice pinky highlights coming down on the clouds. Right. No, that's not too bad. That will do just for now. And I'm moving on now to a different brush. Oh no, actually, I'm going to use the same brush. Yeah. Let's just use the same brush, give it a quick clean. And let's go in here and let's take a little bit of cadmium red. Now let's just switch areas. Clean area. Some Naples Yellow. Little white. I'm just kind of checking backwards and forwards now with the picture here. Just want to get a general likeness to the picture I'm following. No. Yeah, that's not bad. Nice little pinky colour. Naples Yellow, cadmium red and little white. And I'm just going to go in here and check this. Just test it out. And it's not too bad. Is that a little rich? Possibly. Let's go into some more Naples Yellow. Ah, that's a bit nicer. So this is a nice, lovely, warm, sunsetty colour now hitting the clouds. It's kind of hit and miss here and there, sort of. Add a touch more red into that just on the bottom here. Ah, there we go. And I'm just flicking this up now, alright? When I put this on, I'm just flicking it up with the side of the brush. And that's kind of giving the impression of the underneath of the cloud catching the light, if you know what I mean. And let's just put another bit here. You see? There we go. And let's get more pinkish on this here. No, that's not too bad. And again, I'll work on this as I'm going along. You can start to play around with it. That's it. Yeah, that's a nice warm sky now, isn't it? Over on this side, there's a touch of that pinky colour just kind of hitting it here and there as well. So I suppose it would make sense just to put a little here and there, wouldn't it? And that's a lovely rich colour, isn't it? Especially for a sunset like this. In fact, I don't even think we'd call it a sunset really, it's just kind of an evening time colour. And it's only just catching here and there. We'll put a little just under here. It's catching. And I'm keeping colours nice and clean on this now as well. I like keeping my colours clean. I don't like to have too much muddiness on the canvas. So that's why every now and again I'm going back and I'm just rubbing my brush off of the tissue. Just to keep it nice and clean, because you don't want very muddy colours on your canvas, because it'll just turn into a disaster if you're not careful. I know a lot of people like to paint like that. Just put all the colours on the canvas and mix them all around on the canvas. And in fact, I do it myself sometimes. But most of the time, I like to just keep it nice and clean. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. But look, leave a comment and tell me. That's what the comment box is for. There we go. And let's get a small pointy brush now and just put one or two little details on this. I'm going to go into some Naples Yellow and this little white, and just here and there put it little bright, just catching just here and there. See? Just where the sun is really catching the clouds. And let's put just a touch of it here and there around those edges. And just giving you a general idea of how to create these skies. As I said earlier, you can learn yourself as well as you're going along. And I hope the first part of this video turned out okay, because the camera was quite shaky. I don't know if it focused itself or not. So that's the marvels of modern technology. You can't really trust it, can you? Now, let's just blend these down with our finger here, because the blender brush might only catch too much of the paint, and I only want to just blend I want to leave the edges and just blend the rest of the paint in. There we go. And I don't think that's too bad as a sky. Yeah, there we go. And it gives lovely perspective as well. Everything is moving off into the distance here. Now, we have a little hill just along here. In fact, look, I'll draw it for you. It's hidden behind Fastnet Rock here, so it kind of comes up like this. And that's just a little hill that we have. Mountainous area, should I say, off in the distance. And Fastnet Rock is down here in the south of Ireland, and it is the most southerly point, I think. So when the Irish would have been leaving back hundreds of years ago, Fastnet Rock would have been the very last lighthouse, very last point of Ireland that they would have seen. So that was the last, sorry about that, that was the very last piece of Irish land that they would have ever seen when they were heading off to America and all those other countries. So really, if you are visiting the southern point of Ireland, go and visit it. This here, there are boat trips and all kinds of things going on. It's fantastic. And it's amazing, really. It's so far out, and it's just this gigantic rock with this big lighthouse sitting on top of it, just out in the middle of nowhere. It's really fantastic. It's well worth a visit. It's always lovely to paint. Now, I'm just going to get this hill off distance here, just put in. So I'm going to take another flat brush. Let's go into some cobalt blue, some white. There we go, and a little touch of cadmium red. I'll make a very pale purpley blue now for this. And I want to push it off into the distance. Now that's probably a little blue for me. A little blue. Let's just add a touch of cadmium red in there. There we go, and it's just hidden behind Fastnet Lighthouse. In fact, you know what, now we'll bring it down in front of it here just a little. And let's add some more red, some Naples Yellow into that. Just for this section here, just get some of the colour from the sky reflecting down on the hill. And then let's get some burnt umber, should I say. I was just about to say Van Dyke Brown there, because I use Van Dyke Brown as well every now and again if I want a very opaque kind of a brown. So burnt umber, and just blend that very gently in. There we go. That'll look quite nice. That's not too bad. And you probably don't even have to blend this, I don't think. Nice to see a little bit of texture there. Ah yeah, that's alright. Let's just take a little bit of that black and just go along the bottom here. Well, you see how easy that was? Just like that. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee here. Have to have a cup of coffee, lads. You can't do a painting without a cup of coffee next to you. So I'm just going to have a quick sip of my coffee here and we'll continue on. Okay, next we'll concentrate on this water level here. We'll get this right across here nice and straight, and we'll bring it down as far as the lighthouse, and then we'll start on the lighthouse. So, I'm going to dip in to a little cobalt blue, titanium white, and cadmium red. And notice I am using the same colours throughout the painting because that will keep everything the same. Does that make sense? No, it probably doesn't. It keeps all the tones in check, basically. If you use similar colours throughout your painting, it helps tie the painting together at the end. And it basically helps with the composition. That's the word I'm looking for, your composition. Because if I put a bright green colour somewhere now in the middle of this painting, it's going to look pretty funny, isn't it? And pretty silly, even. So that's why I'm using the same colours throughout my painting. And realistically, there's no need to use any other colours. If using all those colours for the sky, then you could realistically just use those colours for the rest of the painting as well. And that's what helps tie it all together. Does that make sense to you? Probably not. But you know what I mean. You can get the gist of it anyway. Now, let's put in a touch of phaylo with some red. And bear in mind now, phaylo blue is a very rich colour. So you only need the tiniest little bit on your brush. And it goes a very, very, very long way. Now I'm just bringing it down just past the lighthouse here. And then we're going to concentrate on this lighthouse and try and get some of that done. Try and get all of it done, in fact. My plan is to get all the painting done in this tutorial. So I'm not going to focus too much on the little details. Not for now, anyway. There we are. Right, I think we leave it at that. That's not too bad. I might just straighten the horizon line there because there is just a slight dip on the horizon. That would look pretty funny, wouldn't it? That's not too bad. No. So let's just sit back now and take a quick look at this and see where we're at. That is not too bad at all. I think I will concentrate on the lighthouse and try and get some of that in. You could perhaps blend a little bit of white just along the edge of that ocean where it meets the sky, just to help blend it in a little bit more and help soften it as well. So let me just get my blender brush and let's see if we can just try to blend that slightly in. Just take the hard edge off of that, just a little even. That's not too bad. Okay, that'll do. Now, Fastnet Lighthouse. Now we have the big rock here, so what I'm going to do basically to help you, I'm just going to draw the outline of this rock. And I have a photograph of my wall up overhead there now. I'm just going to go from that very, very, very loosely. Okay? I'm just basing it very loosely on the photograph. So it comes down like that. And it kind of comes over here at an angle and it falls down here then into the ocean. And that is Fastnet Rock. And we have a little rock sticking out here and a small one here. So that's basically Fastnet Lighthouse there. And you can see it's quite a small rock really for a lighthouse, isn't it? Now I'm going to go into some burnt umber for this. Let's just go into some burnt umber first. Let's just fill all this in with some burnt umber. Well, most of it anyhow. So I'm going to be working from dark to light now with this. There we go. There's a little step here with a wall coming across. And then let's go into some burnt sienna with some cadmium red. Let's get some nice rich colour in here. And some more burnt umber, just neat burnt umber now on my brush. And I'm going to be putting a nice dark shadowy colour here now for the shadow on this side. So I'm going to dip into some phaylo blue. My same brush now, I haven't cleaned it. And some cadmium red. And let's just put some nice deep purple colours in here. See? There we go. Let's just blend it gently into that nice rich colour. And already you can see the three-dimensional kind of look coming into it. And now I'm going to go to my flat brush that I used at the beginning with the point on it, and I'm going to go into some burnt sienna and some Naples yellow and a touch of cadmium red. And let's just pull down some sharp edges here and create some nice highlights on the rock. See? That's all there is to it, people. That's all there is to it. There's a kind of a flat one coming across here, but falls down then. Like that. And after each stroke here now, I'm wiping my brush on the tissue and coming back into some fresh paint then. See? And now I'm going to wipe off that dirty paint and go back into some fresh paint again. Now, a little bit more cadmium red into this. Let's just hit the highlight there on the front of that rock. And this one. There we go. You can tap it with your finger to blend it in if you like. Let's put some burnt sienna in here, because it's going to get slightly darker as we go further across, okay? Darker and darker as it's turning. There we are. And then some burnt umber. Just here. And it goes off into that purpley colour then. And there's another rock as well, just at this side here. The sharp sort of a rock it takes to dive down into the ocean here. Now, I'm just going to go into behind these rocks here with some shadow, alright? So some phaylo blue and cadmium red. And let's just put a little shadow in here, just behind those rocks. You can see how these rocks have come to life already. Just by putting a highlight and a shadow, they've been really brought to life. And in fact, I'm going to put a little light just on the back of this one here. So let's take some cadmium red with Naples yellow, and let's put in a bit of light just on the back. Where the intense sunlight is just catching this rock. See? Just like that. And let's just brighten these slightly as well. Here. So it's always a good idea when you have the paint on your brush to just go around and see is there anywhere else that you can use that colour before you clean it again. There we go. And that's not too bad. A little bit of sunlight reflecting off of this from that rock. Now, I want to go along the top of the rock with some black. Let's just take some black and some burnt sienna. And just along here. Really dark. Because it's a really dark shadow up there. And just use that colour then. Just here and there. To get some shadows in behind those ridges. You see? Just like that. Oh. And just on top of that then, along the top of here, there's a tiny little fence. It's very, very difficult to make out on the photo, but there's a little kind of a fence, a railing, just coming along the top of this. There we go. And I'm just going to take some burnt sienna now. Actually, no, I'll take some of the dark shadowy colour. And just here and there, I want to define some of these rocks. Define some of the shadows on the rocks. And I'm going to go in with some phaylo blue and cadmium red again. And just in the back of these ones. You see, so all these little things now are all helping. There we go. And I really want to get some bright highlight now just on the edge of those as well. So I'm going to take some Naples Yellow with some white. And just here and there. Just here and there. Just tap it along and move the brush around in different directions. Create some interesting shapes, basically. That's what we're trying to achieve here. Just create some interesting shapes, and that will tell you that it's a rock and all sorts of stuff coming down off a fastnet rock. So there we are. I think that'll do for now. Next we're going to be moving on to fastnet lighthouse itself. Okay. Now, fastnet lighthouse. Okay, we're going to concentrate on this lighthouse next. And I'm going to take my little flat brush. Let me see now if I can find it here. I'm just going to use this little flat brush here. I think this is probably the easiest one to use. And I'm going to go into some. Now I'm going to start with the light side. There's a light side and a shadow side. So I'm just going to dip into some Naples Yellow and white. Let's just try this now. It's a little bit yellowy for me. So let's just go into the white, some titanium white, and that will mix with the yellow that's already on it. You see? And let's just come straight down here. Now I can see my pencil lines just slightly here. You probably can't, but I can just make out the pencil lines, so that's okay. If you can't, you can just draw it again if you like with your fine brush. Now it comes around like that, and of course we have the shadow side here then, and the shadow side is what will really make this come to life, and I'll show you that now. I'm going to mix with my same brush. I'm not cleaning it. I'm going to mix a little touch of cadmium red with some cobalt blue. I'm not using cerulean or phaylo blue for this. It's too rich. I'm going to use some cobalt blue with some cadmium red and a touch, just a touch of burnt umber. Just to tone it down slightly. It's not too bad. I think perhaps a little more blue. And I can darken it down then even more again. So let's just put this on the shadow side and gently blend that into the light side. Okay? Just gently. See? Just like that. Now I want to go darker again. So a little bit of burnt umber. Let's try that. And I'm just keeping this now as simple as possible for you at home, just to follow. This is just a kind of a quick tutorial. In the one I showed you earlier up on my wall, there's a lot more detail in that. A lot more. So I'm just trying to keep it simple for you to follow. I don't want to be going into too much detail at all. As I said in my tutorials, every week we'll do something different, and every week it'll get a little more complicated, but I don't want to be going too fast. I want you to be able to follow me as well at your own pace. Understand? So that's why I'm not going too deep into detail with this one. And it's just a nice one as well to paint. You get some real enjoyment from painting this. Now, and at the back of that, I'm going to put some lamp black and some burnt sienna, or burnt umber, I beg your pardon. And just at the back end of that. There we go. And it kind of comes down here and goes into the rock as well. You see? And let's take some cobalt blue and put some cobalt blue down into that. That's a little bit blue, isn't it? Put a bit of red into it. You see, you can mix mix the colours, blend the colours, and then mess around with different colours and tones with this. And let's just blend that down in there. Now we'll put more detail on this later. There we go. It sort of disappears down into the rock, if you will. Now, on top of this, we have another section of the lighthouse where they keep the lamp. So I'm just going to go into some Naples Yellow and white. More white than anything else, really. And just above this, let's put in another section up here and curve that around just slightly. And that will give you the curvature of the lighthouse. You see? There we go. And then we're going to have some shadow on that as well. So let's put a little shadow on the back of that. And notice how these flat brushes are fantastic for this type of work, because they have a lovely sharp edge. You can get some nice details and nice edges with these brushes. That's why I like using them so much. This would be difficult enough to do now with a bristle brush, especially when the bristle brush is old and it's kind of flared out. So these brushes are lovely for this type of work. Now I'm going to take my fine detail brush and go into some white again, a little touch of Naples Yellow. Let's just put the roof on this. Little pointy roof just up there. And again, I'm just keeping this simple. Just a little pointy roof up over that. You see? Now, I'm going to take some red with the same brush, clean the brush and put some cadmium red. And let's put in the railings around here. There's little red railings just around this here, okay? And they come out, let's see, they come out slightly like that. And then they go up. And let's bring that around in a slight curve. Let's do the same underneath there. You see? And then let's put some uprights in. There we go. And the same underneath. You see? That's the railings done. Wasn't that easy? And then we're going to put in some, we're going to put in a suggestion of the window up there. Now, I'm not going to paint the window dark, I'm just going to put in the frame of the window, okay? You see? And the same on this side. And I'm curving it slightly to match the curvature of the building, of the lighthouse. Alright, and just a little up here. And it's just a suggestion. Now I'm going to put a little touch of yellowy orange just in here, just to suggest a lamp inside. Just a little couple of dabs here and there. Okay, that's all you need to do. You see, that's all you need to do. Just a suggestion, that's all we're doing. And let's just put a touch down there and down there. Ah, that's a bit better now, isn't it? Now we have one or two little windows in this, and I'm just thinking, I'm not sure about this shadow colour here. I'm going to make that a little more purpley. I'm just not gone on it, and that's the beauty of painting, you can change things as you go. I'm going to put a touch more red into that as well, because I want to complement the colours in the sky, you see. That's what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to complement the colours in the sky into this. And I might even make the bright side a little more bright. Let's put a touch of cadmium yellow into it. And just very gently, I'm hardly even touching it now. Just a touch of it, just there and there. And let's take a little white on its own. And just mess around with it, create some texture, you know. Yeah, that's a bit better. Now, we have a couple of windows just here and there on this lighthouse. And I can see there's one here. That's all you need to do. It's just a little suggestion because it's so far off in the distance. This is all you can see. We have a little one here and one here. That's it. That's literally all you need to do. Quite literally. Now, I'm going to put some lights on the rock here. Just some nice highlights, just here and there. So I really want this to show out. Now, we have one cross here. And let's just brighten these up a little here. So you can see it's just a work in progress. It's changing as we go, adding little details here and there. Now, I think we should put a little purpley colour just on the back of this here. Let's give it a nice deep shadow. It's probably a little blue. Let's add a little more red. There we go. And bring it across. Just blend it slightly across here and there. Ah, that's it. That's better. Nice deep shadowy colour on the back of that. And there'll even be some lights as well here and there on that. So let's put some lights. Just a couple. With the light is reflecting from the water and just catching these here and there. That's it. Now, we'll continue on with our water, I think. So we can continue on putting this in here and fill this all the way down. So I'm taking some cobalt blue, some cadmium red, a little bit of white. Let's just check this now. It's not too bad. Little red, perhaps. A touch of brown. We continue this all the way around. And I'm using quite a dry brush here now. I'm not putting too much turpentine into this. Yeah. We'll have some nice water crashing up onto this in a minute. So I hope you're finding these little tips useful and helpful. I hope you're using some of these techniques in your paintings. It's just aimed more so really at the beginner, just to get people started, you know. If you're sitting at home and you're wondering, I'd love, you know, saying to yourself, oh, I'd love to do a bit of oil painting, but I'm afraid to give it a go because I don't know where to start and whatever, you know, then this is for you. This is for you. Just give it a try. Don't be shy. Oh, there we go. And let's get a nice dark purple just at the front here. Nice dark purpley blue. I want that nice and dark because I want these waves to really show out in a minute. Really jump off the canvas, as they say. Well, that's not bad at all. Now, I'm going to get my palette knife, okay, and I'm going to take some white, little white on the edge of my palette knife, and just go along here, create some little waves, just some little waves breaking off in the distance here. You see that? Just some little waves breaking off. And I'm going to then take, now I'm looking for a nice little flat brush to create some nice waves breaking off in this. Let me just see now if I can find a nice little brush here. This, 1, 2. I should have one around here somewhere, lads. Look, you know what? We'll use the same brush that we just used for the lighthouse. Let's just take that little flat brush. Any flat pointy brush will do you. I'm just going to go into some white here for a sec, and I'm just going to create some little waves coming along. See, I'm just flicking the brush outwards. That's all I'm doing. You see, that's it. And then go the opposite way. Because of course the waves are just lapping up against each other. They're going all over the place. Now, we'll have a couple going up against the rock here. There we go. You see? I'm just messing around with the brush, that's all I'm doing. And we'll have a couple here. And we'll use our fan brush in a minute now as well, just to create some nice spray up here on these rocks. And let's take a little Naples Yellow with white. There we go. And again, this is just a work in progress. This is just one stage of many. Okay? Just think of it like that, it's just one stage of many. There will be other stages as well. Now, I've put a touch of cobalt blue into this white. Just to make it a little more bluey. There we go. So I'm just wiggling my brush now side to side, creating some nice texture, some water going in all different directions. And I hope it looks alright. I don't think it looks too bad so far. What do you think? Leave your comment, tell me what you think. Now, just some neat white on the brush. And I'm going to get my fan brush now in a sec. And we'll give the fan brush a go and see what happens. And it's just a case of really experimenting with different brushes and different techniques. Just mess around with it, and soon you will find your own your own technique. Really, you will find your own technique, and you will see what suits you best. Now, this is my fan brush, and all I've done really is just tap the corner of the brush, tapping slightly. See? And then just pull it down gently into the water. That's all there's to it. It's quite easy. And pull it down. There we go. That's not too difficult, is it? And you can even use it here as well. You see? Obviously, I would normally go into a lot more detail with this, but I'm just keeping it as simple as I can for you to follow at home, because you're probably only just starting out and you need to find your confidence. So I'm just going to keep it simple. Now I'm taking my pointy brush and just to pick into my white, and I'm just going to go along here and there, And put a couple of flicks in, just along the tips of those waves. Those waves that are kind of coming in there. There we go. And you can really have a bit of fun with this. That's it. And we're not looking too bad so far. Now some phaylo blue and some cadmium red. And a little bit of burnt umber. And I'm just going to go in under these crests. Just a little. Let's just give them a little shadow. And that'll just give them a little bit of life. Do you agree? Let's bring in a little bit of life into them. Because shadows always bring something to life. That's what I find anyway. Now, so a fascinating lighthouse. And this is a wonderful lighthouse to paint. Because it has a very, very simple composition. I would urge you definitely try this. This is one that you're really going to enjoy at home. So just give it a try. If you don't like it, at least you can say you tried it. And that's what it's all about. And I suppose it's just trial and error, really. There we are. And I think I'm going to put one or two boats off in the distance here. Before I do that, I just want to put a little suggestion of some waves off in the distance as well. Yeah, there we are. Now, let's just take a little Naples Yellow and some white. And in fact, let me think now a sec. We might have to go a little darker because we have a very light sky back here. So let's just take burnt sienna and white. Yeah, little burnt sienna and white. And they're sailing into the photo. Always remember that, or into the painting. They're always sailing into the painting. Okay? Try to have them sailing in towards the land because that'll draw your eye in. There we go. And we can put a little dark red on the back of this one here. And tiny little reflection. Just a little. See what I did? I just said give it a tiny, tiny little wiggle on the water. Look, that's it. That's all you need to do. And then take a little burnt umber. And we'll sit those down in the water. And there's two little boats sailing in. Quite nice, isn't it? And then I'm going to do a couple of seagulls for you. Now, seagulls, very, very easy to paint. They don't have to be difficult. We will go, let me think now. I think we'll go up on this side here for a bit of balance, yeah? So, a little white on your brush. And do a little curvy V, just like that. And always do either 1 or 3. Don't do 2 because 2 is an odd number. And odd numbers don't go well in the painting. Now, it's okay with the boats. We'll get away with the boats. But for the birds like this, I think 3 is a good number. Now, we have the white. Then clean your brush and take a little black. Make your brush nice and pointy. Then just on the edges, do a little flick. See that? And a slight little curve at the same time. Wasn't that nice? And there we have 3 little seagulls. So now guys, you can keep tipping away with this now. You can keep putting little highlights in here and there if you wish. I'm going to wrap it up now because I just wanted to give you a quick lesson on this. But just keep putting in these little highlights on the tops of the waves here and there. And just keep adding little bits. You know, play around with it. Experiment, as they say. So, with that, I'm going to leave you. And I hope you try it. Let me know what you think. And I'm sure you could probably give me some hints and tips as well. So don't be shy. I'm just going to unhook this camera here now from its mount. So just give me a sec here now, lads. There we go. And let's have a look. It's quite nice, isn't it? Pop a frame on it, it'll be lovely. So, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And subscribe to my page for all the new videos. I'm going to have a nice one coming up next. It's going to be Shandon Bells. It was requested. It's nice Shandon Bells with the dark colours and the red umbrella walking up. Similar to the Cathedral which I showed you earlier. So that's going to be a nice painting. There'll be a nice bit of detail in this painting as well. So I hope you can join me for that. And that's it, lads. It's my cat. You see my cat? She's asleep next to me. There's Susie, and there's the cat that I'm going to be painting very soon. There. Say hi to the camera. And that's Susie. So lads, thank you very much, and I will see you again in the next video. Cheers. Goodbye.